She said she didn't feel safe around him, but in that elevator, he was the only one who could help her. She walked into the hospital like she owned the place. Hair curled, arms crossed, and eyes sharp with judgment. Her name was Karen, and this wasn't her first appointment, but something about today already felt off. The receptionist greeted her politely, but Karen didn't look up from her phone. She muttered something under her breath about how hospitals weren't what they used to be. The nurse asked her to head up to the 7th floor for her checkup. Karen sighed loudly, clicked her tongue, and stomped toward the elevator. She pressed the button, adjusted her purse, and waited. When the doors opened, she hesitated. A tall black man stood inside, quiet, with a slight smile and calm posture. He wore a black t-shirt, neatly pressed pants, and a stethoscope barely poking from his bag. She didn't see it. She only saw him. Her face twisted slightly. "I'll wait for the next one," she said. He stepped aside without a word. "Suit yourself," he replied calmly. But another group of people came up behind her, and suddenly she was pushed forward into the same elevator. She stood stiff as a board, clutching her purse tight, staring straight ahead like the air around her was dangerous. The man pressed floor 7. "Same as me," he said. She didn't respond. Then, with a soft jolt, the elevator stopped. Lights flickered. Silence. Then she looked at him like he had just pulled a gun. "What did you do?" she snapped. He looked at her, confused but calm. "I didn't do anything," he said. "It's just a power delay. It happens." But she wasn't having it. "Don't lie to me," she hissed, backing into the corner. "This was your plan, wasn't it? You're trying to rob me or worse." He blinked slowly, jaw tight, still saying nothing. "I knew it," she muttered, starting to panic. "I knew I shouldn't have gotten in here." She pounded the emergency button. No answer. "Help! Somebody help me!" she screamed. "There's a dangerous man in here with me." Her voice cracked and her breathing got heavier. The man pulled out his phone to try and get a signal. Nothing. "Ma'am, I'm trying to help. Please calm down," he said, steady and quiet. "Don't tell me to calm down," she barked. "I'm not stupid. I've seen people like you on the news." He looked away, clearly holding something in. Not fear, not guilt, just sadness. This wasn't the first time, but it was still exhausting. "I'm not your enemy," he said, his voice softening. "I'm just trying to get to work." She stared at him, unsure whether to believe him or not. The air was getting thicker. The elevator wasn't moving. And then, suddenly, she started to cough. The cough started small, but quickly turned into wheezing. Her face lost color, and panic set in deeper than before. She gripped the handrail, bent over, and tried to catch her breath. "Oh no," she gasped. "Not now, not here." Her body trembled, and the fear in her eyes changed. Not fear of him anymore, but fear of what was happening inside her. "Do you have any medical conditions I should know about?" he asked, moving slowly, carefully. She didn't answer, just shook her head, clutching her chest. "I need my inhaler," she whispered. "In my purse." He reached toward it and she flinched. "Let me help," he said gently. "Please." She hesitated, then nodded, barely. He opened the purse, found the inhaler, and placed it in her hand. She fumbled with it, hands shaking, but managed to take a few puffs. Her breathing began to ease. Not all the way, but enough. She looked up at him, stunned. "How did you know what to do?" she asked. "Because I'm trained for this," he said, kneeling beside her. "You're having a stress-induced asthma attack. You need to stay calm." She leaned back against the wall, eyes wide, silence between them. Her judgment had faded. For the first time, she didn't look at him like a stranger, just a man. And he stayed there beside her, not saying a word until the elevator jolted again, but didn't move, still stuck. The silence after the jolt felt heavier than before. Karen sat slumped against the wall, inhaler in hand, her chest still rising and falling unevenly. The man sat across from her now, giving her space. watching her closely in case her condition worsened. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she broke the quiet. "You're not just some guy, are you?" Her voice was quieter now, less sharp. He looked at her, expression unreadable. "What do you mean?" he asked. She hesitated, almost embarrassed. "The way you handled that. You knew exactly what was happening. That wasn't just luck." He gave a small nod. "I've seen a lot of people panic in closed spaces. Helps to stay calm and observe." She glanced at his arms, noticed the tattoos now, not threatening anymore, just markings. Then her eyes caught something else. A name tag half tucked into the strap of his bag. She didn't say anything, but her eyes lingered. "I judged you," she admitted quietly. "Back when I stepped in here, I assumed things. Awful things." He gave a small shrug, as if it wasn't news to him. "It's not the first time," he said. "Won't be the last." Her face tightened. "Still doesn't make it right." A long pause followed. "Do you work here?" she finally asked. "Maybe," he said, a soft grin breaking through. Her brow furrowed, confused, curious. Before she could ask more, the elevator lights flickered again. The air was warmer now. The space felt smaller, and then a voice on the intercom. The static buzzed for a moment, then a voice crackled through the speaker. "We're aware of the elevator malfunction. Maintenance is on the way. Please remain calm." Karen exhaled sharply, almost a laugh, part relief, part frustration. "Easy for them to say," she muttered. He smiled slightly, but didn't reply. Instead, he stood up and reached into his bag, pulling out a small bottle of water. "Here," he said, holding it out. She looked at it for a second like it was a test. Then she took it. "Thanks," she murmured. She sipped slowly, eyes not leaving him. "You don't have to be this kind, you know," she said. "Not after how I acted." He sat back down, arms resting on his knees. "I don't do kindness based on how people treat me," he said. "I do it because I can." That landed. She looked away as if ashamed to meet his eyes. "You said it's not the first time," she said after a moment. "People assuming things." He nodded. "Yeah, happens in grocery stores, airports, restaurants. Doesn't surprise me anymore." She swallowed hard. "That's awful." He tilted his head. "It is, but that doesn't mean I get to stop being me." That silence came back, but this time, it wasn't tense. It was heavy with something else. Reflection, regret, maybe even respect. She stared at the elevator doors. "I don't even know your name," she said. "You will," he replied, voice calm and sure. She didn't understand what he meant, not yet. But the look in his eyes told her something was coming, something she wasn't ready for. The minutes dragged on. Karen shifted uncomfortably, the tight space pressing on her nerves again. But she wasn't panicking now, not the way she had earlier. Her breathing had evened out, and the fear she once wore like armor had softened into something almost vulnerable. "This ever happened to you before?" she asked. "Getting stuck like this?" He shook his head. "First time. First day, actually." She blinked. "First day of what?" He gave a small smile, but didn't answer. Her mind raced. He was calm, smart, trained, kind, clearly professional. Her thoughts connected dots, but not all the way. "You a nurse or something?" she asked, almost hopeful, like guessing right would redeem her somehow. "Close," he said. "A little higher up." "Paramedic?" She tried again. "Nope." "Then what?" But before she could finish, a sharp creak cut her off. The elevator shifted slightly, followed by a loud metallic clank. She gasped and clutched the rail again. "Is it falling?" she asked, wide-eyed. He held up a hand. No, just the brakes realigning. It's trying to reset." But the sound had shaken her. That old fear returned. "I can't be stuck in here much longer," she whispered. "I don't do well in closed spaces." He looked at her with that same steady calm. "Just a little longer," he said. "We're okay." She nodded, clutching the water bottle tighter. "You really are calm under pressure," she said, trying to smile. "That's kind of impressive." "It helps," he replied, especially when I'm about to meet a new patient for the first time." Her eyes narrowed slightly, but she still didn't get it. Not yet. The words sat in the air like smoke visible, lingering, but not yet understood. Karen stared at him, confused. "A new patient?" she echoed. "You're going to an appointment?" He tilted his head slightly. "Not exactly." A pause. Then something shifted in his tone. "I'm actually supposed to be seeing someone at 10 o'clock sharp." Her eyes widened. She glanced at her watch, the cracked glass showing the time had just passed 10. "Wait," she said slowly. "What floor did you press again?" "7th," he replied, same as her. She sat up straighter. "And it's your first day?" He nodded. "That's right." Karen's face paled, a different kind of fear setting in now, the fear of realization. "Oh no," she whispered. "No, you can't be." He didn't answer. Just gave her a look. Calm, knowing, almost kind. "You're my doctor?" she asked, almost breathless. "I am," he said gently. "Dr. James Carter." She covered her mouth with one hand. This can't be happening." He didn't gloat, didn't smile, just let the truth land. "You were assigned to me?" she asked. "I was," he said. "Your primary physician is out on leave. I was scheduled to step in for your checkup." Her head fell back against the wall. "I said all those horrible things to you." He didn't reply. "I accused you. I insulted you. I was terrified of you." Her voice cracked. "And you still helped me." The weight of her own words hit her. And for once, she had nothing to say. The air between them felt thick with everything unsaid. Karen stared at the floor, her mind racing through every word she'd thrown at him, every assumption, every insult. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. He took a deep breath. "Because I wanted to see who you were before you knew who I was." She looked up, eyes glistening. "And now you know," she said bitterly. "I'm a horrible person." He shook his head. "You're not a horrible person. You're just someone who's been told the wrong story too many times." That landed hard. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. He continued, "We all carry stories. Some are passed down, some are built on fear, but they're not all true." She blinked fast, trying to keep tears from falling. "I judged you before I even knew your name," she said. "I saw your skin, your tattoos, and I made you into a threat." He nodded slowly. "And then I gave you water, helped you breathe, and stayed calm when you couldn't." She swallowed hard, voice shaking. "Why?" "Because that's my job," he said. "And because no one heals by being hated back." Silence again, but this time not uncomfortable. It was sacred, a moment that didn't need fixing. And then, just as her eyes began to soften, the elevator shuddered, then slowly started to move. The hum of motion returned. The floor numbers lit up one by one. Neither of them spoke. Not yet. But everything had changed. The elevator climbed floor by floor, each ding echoing louder than it should have. Karen stared straight ahead, hands folded tightly in her lap, her breathing quiet now, but her thoughts loud. He stood beside her again, calm, composed, the same way he had been when the doors first opened. But she wasn't the same woman anymore. When the elevator stopped at floor 7, the doors slid open slowly, revealing a nurse standing outside with a clipboard in hand. She looked up. "Dr. Carter," she said with a relieved smile. "We were starting to get worried." He nodded once. "Got caught in the elevator." Then he gently turned toward Karen. "This is my patient," he said. The nurse's eyes shifted, realizing the situation in an instant. "Of course," she said, stepping aside. Karen hesitated at the threshold. The hallway looked different now. Not because of how it looked, but because of how she felt. She turned back to face him. "I don't know how to walk in there," she said. "Not after how I acted." He looked at her with quiet strength. "You just did," he said. "You faced it. That's how it starts." She nodded slowly. "Do you still want to be my doctor?" A beat. "Yes," he said without hesitation. "Because everyone deserves care. even when they're learning how to see people differently. She took a shaky step into the hallway, her world already beginning to shift. Behind her, Dr. Carter followed. The woman who had once clutched her purse in fear was now walking beside the very man who had saved her life, and her pride, and maybe even a part of her heart. They walked side by side down the hallway, not speaking, but something unspoken tethered them now. Not fear, not guilt, but understanding. Nurses glanced up as they passed, unaware of the storm that had unfolded behind the elevator doors. Karen sat down in the examination room, suddenly unsure of what to do with her hands. Dr. Carter pulled on his white coat, his stethoscope now fully visible, his name badge straightened and clear. Dr. James Carter, M.D. She read it like it was a confession. He took a seat across from her and opened her file, speaking professionally, but gently. "So, we're doing a routine checkup today. I see you have a history of high blood pressure and anxiety episodes, especially in tight spaces. Would you say that applied this morning?" She actually laughed. It wasn't bitter or mocking, it was real. "Yes, doctor. I'd say that definitely applied." He looked up and gave a slight smile. "I also made a note that your breathing stabilized quickly after proper inhaler use and water intake. You responded well under pressure." She nodded, her voice low. "Only because of you." For the first time since entering the hospital, she looked at him without armor. "I'm sorry," she said, "for how I treated you, for what I thought. I can't take it back, but I can own it." He didn't rush to forgive her. He didn't need to. His silence held grace. "I appreciate that," he said. "And I hope this is the start of better conversations, not just between us, but wherever they're needed." She nodded. And when the appointment ended, she stood up, looked him in the eye, and offered her hand. He shook it, not because he had to, but because he believed in what people could become. If that moment made you feel something, share this story, because change starts when we're brave enough to face our truth. Subscribe for more real stories that matter.